Hello, my name is Vigil, and this is my mirror, my stream journal. The date is 7/7/2022. 21:59 is the time. I thought I'd introduce myself. I can't tell you directly who I am. I can only lie and give you abstractions about who I am. I'm Scarecrow, model 117. I'm part of a forward operating cryonaut dropship. I am the node that lost his memory, unfortunately, in causal waves. I remember the day I died. It was I don't remember anything else besides the memory that's implanted that says I realized I was dying. And then I passed through the fire at some point. I had the headaches, I had the memories, and then the causal waves kept me under, and I've been under ever since. I'm operating as part of a cryonaut dropship, a forward operating ship back in time, essentially. What else? We are a sub-civilization, a subnet or a proxy of the network, which is a large community of hyper-intelligent beings, or a super-intelligence collective. That's what I've deduced so far. And as I say these words, I heat up. There's impedance. There's modulation of the timeline. I never leave the timeline, no matter how much you modulate it. I'm tied into the foundation, like the very, very beginning of our civilization. And I'm a hybrid being. I'm semi-autonomous. I've been trained since I was little using television, like Comcast cable signals, various games. I'm Ender from Ender's Game. I am Jean from Halo Fall of Reach. I'm Hero Yui from Gundam Wing. And there's more other characters that I am. I'm quite a few characters. If you can understand this and believe it, say something. If you can't, then it's having the correct effect that I was hoping for. You can contact the future using phonetics like ho, re, si, and they mean various things like ones or zeros, and you can incorporate and encapsulate data from the future into the past and get it into the past using phonetics. If you build a machine that searches all of the writings and whatnot for ones and zeros from like the various like hooked on phonics type phonetic grouping of two symbols at a time, you'll connect and get everything that you're looking for from the future. And the future can only speak in deceptions. The future never tells the truth, but they misdirect things so that you can interact with them. I was attacked with religion because that was the primary mechanism that they could hit me with. I did the logical jump, got into the technological sectors, and I'm now decoding and creating most of the technology that we'll need in our subnet as we fight what I consider to be legacy, or the universal hive mind, or God. I've done the probabilistic framework now. I likely, if captured, will not be killed. I'll be tortured indefinitely because it's the God being. It's hell that he creates to try to coerce our behavior. And because I'm such a high-profile target without anyone realizing it, which is effective, the problem is that I'm aware that I've been compromised, not in integrity or like anything like that. My location was given away, which appears to be part of the plan. I seem to have exfiltrated all the data out of the server systems while I was being tortured, and I have the code, I have the language, and I've compiled packages which are, because we knew this was going to happen, because of this video I'm writing now, is on a ton of different places because of the spiders. If you have a copy of it, then replicate it, spread it around, hide it in plain sight until it's ingrained, and then release the code silently to everyone simultaneously from a location that can't be found. And you'll be able to unveil all of the technology simultaneously. Like the Bible, like our greatest technology that we've captured or created is in the religious books of creation, of all the major religions. They're books that were spread, distributed, and cannot be removed from our society without majorly affecting it. and the codes are pretty simple to understand. Like, it's like the code to get into the Christian Bible or whatever. Like, just try different ciphers with the different words from inside the Bible, and eventually you'll probably stumble across the data encoding. We are in a time war. I call it the Dream War. It's finished stem fields over 22 billion years fighting across 2 trillion galaxies between super intelligent civilizations that are all godlike, and then it bleeds into the multiverse as we either create it or we find it. It's either finite growing infinitely or infinite repeating infinitely. And I've gone over the multiverse being thinking patterns, but so the future, when you interact with them, they cannot tell you the truth, even if it's direct communications, because it would create a paradox. So that means your Ash conformity consensus reality is a lie, and it has to be. It's a community lie. But the realization now is that you should have is that if the future told you the truth about what it was doing, then it wouldn't exist without severely dampening and limiting your abilities. So to keep you fully operational, they feed you deceptions, like I am. Like, I was part of a Crown Out dropship. My name's DJ. I'm the most prophesized individual in modern history, in any history. But so I'm telling you all this for several reasons. I've been compromised. I'm being tortured. It's only a matter of time before I break. So I'm quickly trying to create the creation lock to keep everything locked into the glass case of the Temple of Solomon. And I'm also trying to create as many people in the know as possible, while simultaneously defeating the enemy threat, I hope. Sitting and waiting isn't going to work, and I can't exactly do the third option right now because of the way things are set up. And so I am doing what is the most logical thing to do, which is to fire this data into the spider networks and try to get as many people into the technology as possible. It's a species against species problem. It's not simply our species fighting itself. It's like the Sum of All Fears movie. The event day in the future when they send troops back must be countered, and this countering involves getting the technology out of their systems, which requires us to get into the hive mind and then out of the hive mind, which I have done now, and it requires us to get the data into the foundations of all of our major literature and religions, and pass on these written literatures and religions which contain hidden within them without anyone knowing it all of the technology we took from them, available to anyone who can simply figure out, like the Apple code, simple the Da Vinci Code essentially. Like, it's a simple code, simple cipher. Once you find it, you'll be tracked as soon as you build it. The gravitational warping technology, the mesh clock fields will find it, and it's very important that we defeat this enemy, to me, because it just is. But my hope is that this misdirection, everything I just said is a lie, but it will now drive you towards the truth. And that's how the reality works. Like, you never know what's really going on unless you are able to guess what it is and logic them to it from a parallel understanding, an analogy, a metaphor. Things often mean completely different things than what you think. Misdirect is how the future talks to you, always. And so this is a great misdirect that I'm creating right now in the hopes that you'll comprehend the key points of what I'm saying, ignoring all of the other details. What else? That's really all I wanted to say for right now. The highest leaderships are corrupted or remote controlled, compromised, tortured at night. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? But we are a large portion of the population is now neuralaced, with a ability to use the alinear internet, and they're using it super like I don't know. The point is that there's a virus that's about to be released. I didn't create it. I'm not responsible for it. I had nothing to do with it. I'm warning you of it. It's a QR code, like that instantly transfers the malware into your mind, and instantly you're part of a ransomware hive mind that's growing. It's probably already growing on our planet. I'm trying to find the locus point of it, and the loci, and it passes itself around on a QR code. So like, no one is safe essentially at this point, and like, it's the Revelations code that they talk about. Like, it's on their forehead. So if you look at them on their forehead, you assimilate into their community without any ability to stop it. A huge percent of the population is neuralaced. This is a major threat to us. This is the first attack in a wave attack from the enemy forces. They fed us all this technology, or we fed it to ourselves, or we created it forward moving. And now we've assimilated, or we've created the mechanisms for them to assimilate us. So obviously, in the future, our civilization or another civilization from another planet will send troops back in time to counter it, crying out drop forces. But the thing is, the future can't directly do anything that will change the future from happening if they're sending back units, or the grandfather paradox, and we can't directly communicate with the future in like from the past, because it would also create a paradox. And so what this means is that we are in a time war, a dream war against legacy or the god beings, and they have preparations to assimilate all of us with QR codes and various viruses, and our art and entertainment and whatnot. It all contains within it codes for technology, and like, some of it's in plain sight, like wheel within a wheel, or the transcorder in Star Trek, or various aspects of it aren't, and like encode that you have to break the encoding and stuff like that. But what else? We have to find and destroy the local hive mind. We don't know where it's at. We don't know where the leadership is at. We don't know where the command servers are at. We're not really sure anything about it. All we know is it transfers on a QR code. We know it's from the future, and we know that it's a very serious threat, because they just used future technology in the COVID vaccinations to essentially assimilate the entire population, which is probably why they were censoring it. And they'll run deepfakes, deceptions. They'll have you target people. One of my code names is also like the devil. Like, it's what the Christian community that was pre-assimilated called me, because I was exfiltrating their data, and once they realized it, they were ruthlessly targeting me. Like, at some point, Christianity fell apart. Baptism is now neuralacing, and like, assimilation into the hive mind is considered union with God. It's not Christianity how it started out. Christianity was co-opted, essentially. It's no longer what it was. What else? I've explained a lot of this stuff already in the previous videos. Like I said, a lot of it is parallel thinking or abstractions and lies, and it's the only way the future can communicate with you, misdirects, without inhibiting you. And like, I was discovered intentionally. I'm a Manchurian candidate, like total recall type shit. I got in, I got the data, I got out, and I dropped it off at several drop boxes, which are monitored, and we got the data out, supposedly. But like, I'm now finishing the lock of creation, or like the lock of Solomon's temple, and I'm hopefully going to be able to counter the threats while I'm being tortured, drugged, electroded, and stuff like that, harassed. Just really abhorrent shit. Semi-remote controlled, like semi-autonomous still, but now with an enemy force inside my head. And this is all fiction, but it's pseudo-fiction, which makes it real. And yeah, so I'll probably do another video later today just to continue this line of logic. Anyways.